The Corpus Hermeticum is a collection of 17 texts attributed to Hermes Trismegistus, thrice greatest Hermes, likely written in Egypt between the 1st and 3rd century CE. They blend Greek philosophy, Platonism, Stoicism, with Egyptian religion and early mysticism. Here is a readable, plain English rendering of the major tractates. Tractate I, the Poimandres, the Shepherd of Men. One day, while I was deep in thought, my mind seemed to expand beyond itself. A vast being appeared to me and asked, "What do you want to understand? What do you want to hear?" I said, "Who are you?" "I am Poimandres," it said, "the mind of the Absolute. I know what you want, and I am with you everywhere." I asked it to teach me about existence, about God, about nature, about everything. It said it would, and told me to hold all of that in my mind. Then I saw a vision. Everything became light, calm, joyful, beautiful light. Then darkness appeared below it, coiling and churning like a great snake. The darkness turned into something wet and chaotic, with smoke rising from it and a kind of groaning sound. Then a holy word came down out of the light and entered the watery chaos. Pure fire leapt upward out of the wetness toward the heights. The air followed the fire upward, leaving earth and water below, tangled together. The word moved over the water. Poimandres told me, that word is the Son of God. I asked, "But what about that light?" "That light is God," it said. "The mind that was before all things. The word that came from God's mind is the Son. They are not separate, life and light together. That is what you are, too. When you understand this, you will return to life and light." Then Poimandres showed me the creation of everything. The mind, God, being male and female together, being life and light, gave birth by its own word to a second mind, a craftsman God, the God of fire and breath. This craftsman God made 7 beings to govern the world below, the planets, each one moving in a circle, each ruling over its domain. This is fate. Then God's word leapt up through the spheres and united with the craftsman God's mind. The lower, material nature was left behind. Humanity came from God's own mind, made in God's image. God loved this human reflection. The human form was beautiful. Fate and the planetary rulers fell in love with humanity and each gave it something of themselves. But humans, being partly divine and partly material, became split. They are mortal in body but immortal in spirit. They are subject to fate, but capable of rising above it. They are the only creatures on earth that have 2 natures. One connects them to the higher world, one binds them to the lower. Then Poimandres told me what happens when we die. As the soul rises through the planetary spheres on its way back to God, it sheds layers, it gives back each sphere's influence. Ambition, greed, lust, arrogance, recklessness, false desires, all stripped away one by one. Finally, naked and pure, it enters the 8th sphere, the realm of the truly real, and sings with the powers there. Then it moves further inward, into the Father, into the light, into God. This is the good news. You can know God. You can return to God. The path is this: stop loving the body. Know yourself as light and life. Stop being a stranger to yourself. I went out and began telling people this. I told them, wake up. You are drunk on ignorance. You are sleeping in a stupor. Why are you giving yourselves over to death when you could have immortality? Turn back. Stop walking in the dark. Stop sharing in death when you could share in light. Some of them mocked me and walked away. I let them go. The others, I led forward. I taught them the way of salvation. I planted in them the words of wisdom, and they were nourished by the waters of immortality. Tractate 2, General Mind. A conversation between Hermes and Asclepius. Everything that moves is moved by something. But is the thing that causes movement itself moved by something else? You could trace that chain back forever. But there must be something that is the cause of all motion and is not itself moved by anything outside it. That is God, the self-moving source of all movement. God is not in space, because God contains space. The cosmos is not God, but God fills the cosmos. You cannot see God, but you can know God not through the senses, but through the mind. Tractate 3, the Sacred Discourse. Before the world began, darkness was over the deep, and water was formless and still. Then a holy light appeared, and out of the wet chaos, the elements took form. God breathed spirit into all things. Everything came from light, and everything will return to light. God made the heavenly gods to be immortal. God made humans to be able to understand the divine, the only mortal creature capable of turning toward heaven. Tractate 4, the Mixing Bowl, the Crater. When God made the world, God sent down a great mixing bowl filled with mind, with divine intelligence, and announced, "Whoever wants to be filled, come and plunge into this bowl. Know why you were born. Rise back toward the one who sent you." Those who heard and understood plunged in. They received mind. They became fully conscious beings, capable of knowing God. Those who didn't hear, who chose the body over the soul, those beings wander, driven only by their senses, unable to see what is real. The path upward is this: turn inward. Know yourself. Hate the body as a cage. Seek what is truly you. That is how you rise. Tractate V. God is invisible and fully visible. God is at once completely invisible and completely visible. You cannot see God with your eyes, but everything you do see is God's expression. Look at the world. Look at the order of the stars and seasons. Look at how everything tends toward life. That is God showing you God's face. God is not distant. God is closer to you than anything, closer than your own body. God is what holds you together at every moment. Why do you think God is hidden? Because God is too obvious. God is everywhere, and so we look past God the way we don't notice the air we breathe. If you want to see God, look at the sun. Look at the order of the cosmos. Then turn inward, and look at the mind within you that is capable of understanding all of this. That mind is a reflection of God's mind. Tractate 6. In God alone is good. The good does not exist in the world. Everything in the world is subject to change, to loss, to corruption. Whatever can be lost or diminished is not truly good. True good is unchanging, unbounded, and whole. God alone is truly good, because God alone has no lack, no change, no diminishment. When we speak of goods in the world, pleasure, honor, beauty, we are using the word loosely. These things are shadows of the real good. To know God is to experience the true good. To be absorbed in the things of the body is to move further from it. Tractate 7. The worst evil among men is ignorance of God. People are drunk. They are drunk on a terrible wine, ignorance. They are asleep in a stupor, snoring in the cage of their own body, dreaming that the things of the body are real. Wake up. You are staggering around looking for God in the wrong places. The thing you're looking for is inside you, and yet you go looking outside. Seek the guide who will lead you to the door of truth, where the clear light is, the light in which no one is drunk, where everyone is sober, looking with the heart at the one who wants to be known. Tractate 8. On soul and spirit. The soul is not separate from the mind, and the body is not separate from the soul. Everything is connected, but the degree of life in things varies. Stones exist. Plants exist and grow. Animals exist, grow, and feel. Humans exist, grow, feel, and know. The divine knows everything, including itself. Death is not the end of life. Death is only the dissolution of a particular arrangement of matter. The soul moves on. The elements of the body return to what they came from, and the immortal part of the human rises. Tractate 9. On thought and sensation. Sensation and thought are not the same thing. The senses give you the world as it appears. Thought, real thought, connected to the divine mind, gives you the world as it is. The wise person uses the senses but is not ruled by them. The fool thinks that what the senses show is all there is. The senses change. The truth does not. God does not think the way we think, moving from ignorance toward knowledge. God simply knows. God's thought and God's being are the same thing. Tractate X. The key. This tractate is Hermes speaking to his son Tat. It is sometimes called the key because it summarizes and unlocks the others. The mind of God is beauty and goodness. God is the father of all. The cosmos is God's child, and humanity is the cosmos's child. So humanity is the grandchild of God. The soul of the cosmos is mind. The soul of a person is also a kind of mind, but a lesser one, limited by the body. Still, it is capable of expanding back toward the divine. When a person's mind is fully illuminated, when it has fully turned toward God, it becomes something almost divine itself. It can know past and future. It understands nature. It loves. It rises above fate. The soul that rises passes through the layers of the cosmos, shedding the influences of the planets as described before, until it rests in God. The soul that does not rise, the soul that remains attached to the body, to desire, to material things, is dragged back into another body, and another, endlessly, until it learns. Tractate 11. The mind to Hermes. Expand your mind. Make it as big as all the world. Rise above time. Stand outside yourself and imagine you contain everything, all times and places. Then you will have some sense of what God is. God is not in a place, because God contains all places. God is not in time, because God contains all time. God is life itself. God is the cause of living in all things. Nothing lives except through God's presence. You cannot understand this with the small, contracted mind that worries about daily things. You have to let the mind expand. Stop thinking about your body. Stop thinking about what you want or fear. Let the mind be still and huge, and in that stillness, you will begin to understand. Tractate 12 on the Common Mind. Mind comes from God and fills all things, though in different amounts and kinds. In rational beings, humans, mind takes on the capacity for judgment, for rising toward the good or falling toward evil. Evil is not a thing that exists on its own. Evil is only the absence of good, the way darkness is only the absence of light. In the lower world, what we call evil is often just the turbulence of matter, desire, passion, ignorance. These are not evil in themselves, they become evil when the mind is captured by them. The person ruled by the body is like a prisoner. The person who has awakened their mind is free. Both are in the same world, but they experience it entirely differently. Tractate 13, The Secret Sermon on the Mountain, on Rebirth. Tat asks Hermes, "You told me that no one can be saved without rebirth, but you won't tell me how it happens." Hermes says, "I can try to explain, though this is beyond what ordinary language can hold. Rebirth is not something that happens to the body. The body stays the same. It is the self that is reborn. When a person truly turns toward God, something shifts. The false self built from ignorance, desire, envy, deceit, hatred, malice, these are dissolved, replaced by their opposites: knowledge, joy, self-control, truthfulness, generosity, love of God. When these 10 vices are dissolved, and 10 divine qualities take their place, the person is transformed. They are not the same person they were. They have been born again, not from a physical womb, but from the silence of God." Tat says, "I feel it happening as you speak. I am not who I was." Hermes says, "Yes, now you understand." Tractate 14, Letter to Asclepius. The good things of this teaching, truth about God, about the soul, about nature, are the greatest gift one person can give another. Share them with those who are worthy. Do not cast them before those who mock what they do not understand. The teaching is this: the cosmos is one living thing. God is the soul of that living thing. Everything within it is connected. The wise person lives in harmony with that whole, understanding their place within it. Tractates 15 to 16, Fragments and Definitions. These are shorter pieces, likely edited or partially preserved. The core ideas repeated here. God is one. Mind is the most divine thing in humans. Fate governs the body and the lower world. The soul can transcend fate through wisdom. The cosmos is beautiful and ordered. Everything comes from God and returns to God. Tractate 17, short fragment. A king asked Hermes whether the soul, after death, remembers who it was. Hermes answered, "The body is a burden. Memory as we know it, the memory of names and faces and events, belongs to the body, and is left behind. But the deeper knowing, the self that knows itself as light, that does not forget. It does not need to. It simply is." A summary of the core teaching across all 17 tractates. The Corpus Hermeticum is saying a handful of things, very persistently. God is real, one, and good. Not a being among other beings, but the source and ground of all being. Beyond description, yet everywhere present. Humanity is unique. We are the only beings that bridge the material and the divine, mortal in body, immortal in soul. This is both a gift and a danger. Ignorance is the real death. Most people are sleepwalking, trapped in the illusion that the body and its desires are what matter. This is the source of suffering. Knowledge, gnosis, is salvation. Not knowledge of facts, but direct, lived knowledge of God, of the self's true nature, of the unity of all things. When this dawns in a person, they are transformed. The path is inward. Turn away from the outward, the material, the sensory as ultimate reality. Turn inward. Quiet the passions. Let the mind expand. Know yourself. Know God. These are the same thing. Death is not the end. The soul returns to God. The path may take time across multiple lives, through the spheres, but the destination is certain. Everything that came from God returns to God. This rendering is based on the traditional 17 tractates, drawing primarily on the Nag Hammadi tradition and the Greek Hermetic corpus as translated and studied over centuries. The Corpus Hermeticum is a public domain text.